Okay. So,
No, not me. Sorry, I had my mic on mute.
okay. Edison company. If something happened to Edison, what will it will pump? Once they're done filling up these atriums, it will pump going to the ventricular. The ventricular will be open. Remember, there are valves. Okay? And once the ventricular pumps are done, filling up this the atrium, it will pump going to the ventricular. The ventricular will be open. Remember, there are valves. But sometimes there's a problem. Pump one, pump one, pump one, pump one. So there's ventricular tachycardia. Or pump, 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 pump. So there's atrial tachycardia, right? So there must be a rhythm. That's why they are looking for this rhythm. How come that there's this rhythm? How come there's tachycardia? Okay? If we have tachycardia, we will not be able to have a good cardiac output. When you say cardiac output, this is your what atrial receives. So if the atrial receives a small amount because it keeps on pumping, it's not filled up yet and pumps, so the system will be receiving small amount of oxygenated blood. All right. So there is a rhythm and there's a sound. Love, dub, dub, dub. We will be talking about those love, dub later. All right, concepts to remember. When you say non-modifiable, what does it mean? It cannot be modified. Okay, you cannot change it, although we deny it. Age. We cannot change the age, but we deny it. How old are you? Before. Huh? Before. All right. T4 only. So gender, we can how old are you? We have or I would like to emphasize, all right, I don't want whatever community call me, all right? This is being recorded. So I just want to be fair. We have genders and we have preferences. Okay, and we respect that. When it comes to race, it's not modifiable as well. All right. Even though I color my hair, I put contact lenses, I use glutathione to lighten my skin, still my race will be the same. I am a Filipino. Although sometimes I deny it. Like I said, when I was reviewing in Jamboree in Iran, there's so many Filipinos, and then they are asking, "Are you Filipino?" They talk about. All right, heredity. We cannot change it. So whatever the history that we have, that's our history. It's family history. Our family history, we eat and drink a lot. That's our family history. Unless you want to change your history from you, all right? But your family history, okay? And there is a genetic adaptations when it comes to your history, okay? Now, why is it that African or Black American is so popular in NCLEX? Do you still remember the blood condition of African American in NCLEX? What is that? Well, yeah, they are at risk for in our NCLEX, hypertension, sickle cell. Remember the sickle cell anemia? Okay, so sickle cell anemia, and then of course myocardial infarction. So more on blood or and heart. Okay, I'm sorry, Crohn's disease. Possible, but majority are Caucasian. So hypertension, sickle cell anemia, myocardial infarction. So those are the possible for African American in our NCLEX. Okay, in our NCLEX. Now, since they are popular in NCLEX, there are medication, like for example, hypertension. They are not responding to medications like ACE inhibitors. They are not responding to beta blockers. They are not responding to ACE inhibitors. They are not responding to beta blockers. So if they have hypertension, what we can give is calcium channel blocker. Aside from calcium channel blockers, we can give diuretics. This is for Black American or African American, okay? They are not responding to ACE inhibitors and beta blockers. This is for NCLEX purposes. So, calcium channel blockers and diuretics can be given. Now, what are those ACE inhibitors that you know? Medications, antihypertensive that ends with pril. So the prils, lisinopril, captopril, enalapril, pril. All right. And they are not responding to beta blockers. But what are those beta blockers medication that you know? Yes, the medication that ends with OLOS or LOL. All right, the OLOS medication. Atenolol, metoprolol, propranolol, lalolol. All right, those medications. Medications that we can give, calcium channel blockers. So calcium channel blockers, we have your pine, all right, any medication that ends with pin or pine. amlodipine, okay, nifedipine. In our place, it's nifedipine. Wow. In the Philippines, it's tourniquet. In United States, it's tourniquet. In the Philippines, it's yang power. You know what is yang power? In United States, it's younger. The suction, the hard part of the suction. Yeah, yang power. Can you bring me yang power? Huh? Where's a tourniquet? What's tourniquet? Oh, tourniquet. Okay, whatever. I still remember when I was a CNA. Oh my goodness. When I was a CNA in Saddleback Memorial, it's so crazy. Yeah, it's so crazy. Um, I've been a CNA there for a couple of months, I think 6 or 8 months. Well, I was reviewing for my complex. And then my RNs, my LVNs, they're laughing about. First, I was in the United States. My English was so little. Third, you're wet again. My patient asked me, "Hey, Walter, can you get me vanilla pudding?" Yes, yes. Then if I can't find any vanilla pudding, no more pudding. That's it. Short answer, short conversation. That's it. All right. So they're telling me a lot of information that sometimes I can't understand. Like it nothing. In Memorial Hospital, that's why I like Memorial so much because they're kind of advanced because they're teaching CNAs a lot of things like nurses. So we check the lungs, we check the bladder, everything. So when I was reviewing, I am applying that. So we check the bladder, we have the bladder scan, right? And we have those other things that they have the sequential, okay, SCD. All right, so we are doing that. And my RN, my nurses are asking me, okay, Walter, here's the lab of the patient. Bring this to the lab. So I was thinking, where's the lab in this building? Right? I don't understand that you have a tube. They have a tube, okay? That the lab is in a Ziploc, okay, or the specimen is in a container and Ziploc. It has a name on it, and all you need to do is to put that on a tube. It's like a tube that you need to send to spaceship to outer space, all right? And there's a like a tunnel. You put the like for example lab L1, press that and then put the tube, then enter. Now if you put L2 or L or P1, that's parking lot. Right? You enter. That's why there's a I haven't received the result. I sent it to the laboratory. Where? What floor? Right? And it says that no. So you need to know those codes. Right? And sometimes I went to the elevator. Where is the laboratory here? Oh, no one can get there. Huh? Yeah. No one goes to the laboratory. Why? Well, because I need to give this this specimen, right? So there's a lot of bloopers during my time. Oh my goodness, it's so crazy. My patient asked me, I want to nibble. Huh? Nibble? In the Philippines, we don't use nibble. Rarely during my time. We don't use the word nibble. We use snack. I want to eat snack. I want to chew something. But nibble, we don't use much. And during the time, we don't have. During my time, when I was working there, there's no smartphone. So I cannot check the word or Google it. No. And I was thinking, my God, what is that? I've been walking in the hallway, thinking about it, go to the break room and thinking about it. But it's big. Oh, what's that? You know? So I went back and asked the elderly. My vocabulary was limited. What do you mean by nibble? Oh, I want to eat something like Graham. Oh, Graham. You want Graham? It's Graham. It's Graham. I learned. Right? Oh, Graham, Graham. In our country, it's Graham. Biscuit, biscuits. Don't what me. All right, so we have calcium channel blockers. We have pine, nifedipine or nifedipine, and we have, of course, amlodipine. Your diuretics, the most popular diuretics, if you are newly diagnosed, is hydrochlorothiazides. Hydrochlorothiazides. Now, for memorization purposes, that's why you're afraid with medications, right? Pharmacology. I don't know those medications. I don't know anything about medications. You know a lot of medications. Okay? You are just overwhelmed. Hypertensive, anti-hypertensive, A, B, C, D. All right? Anti-hypertensive medication, you have A, B, C, D. ACE inhibitors, beta blockers, calcium channel blockers, and diuretics. Now, two medications that are not effective for African American or Black American, ACE inhibitors and beta blockers. So you can give calcium channel blockers. Example of amlodipine or pine calcium channel blockers is Norvasc. Norvasc. Remember your Norvasc? Most common milligram is 5 or 10 milligrams for Norvasc, amlodipine. Next, modifiable risk factors. Yay, we can change this now. Stress. I know we can modify stress, but sometimes it's really hard to deal with stress. All right? Think about Elsa of Frozen. Let it go. Right? Someone cut you in the freeway. Let it go. Let it go. Okay. Diet. Oh my goodness. Let's move forward. Just kidding. So we can modify our diet. Activity and stress, we can modify that. Cigarette smoking, we can modify that. But of course, it's a challenge. It's a challenge. Other people, they cannot survive without smoking. All right. So it's a challenge. It's it would be easier for me to say that because I'm not a smoker. But if they've been smoking since they were a teenager until this time, it's gonna be a challenge. The same thing, of course, we can modify our alcohol, caffeinated drinks. So some people, of course, they are addicted to caffeine. Like me, I love coffee so much, but I love water as well. So it's balanced. So caffeinated drinks, not only from coffee, but also from, of course, from any energy drinks. You know, any energy drinks? Red Bull that gives wings, right? What else? Monster drink, right? Unleash the beast in you. You're familiar with Crash? Sorry, with Crash with 5 hour, right? The small one, it has cherry flavor, you know. So 5 hours. So it's also effective. It says no crash. Right? I was using that before because I'm teaching from 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock in the evening. So I have the cherry flavor. It's only $2 in 7-Eleven. But I've noticed my DNA, our family is like this. We're hyper. Okay, and there's something wrong with our brain. We always laugh. Okay. So sometimes I have jittery. And I was using that's why I'm not drinking any energy drink nowadays because I have jittery. So before we even don't have the smart TV or anything, but we have like the whiteboard. So if I'm writing something in school, there's a long whiteboard. I'm writing, I drop it. I drop the marker. And I don't want to pick it up. I have another marker. And I have jittery. So from then on, I stopped using it. Yeah. So hypertension, you can modify it. Of course, they are all related to our diet, exercise, stress, and so on. Hyperlipidemia, same thing. Diabetes mellitus, yes, we can modify it. Obesity, ouch. Oh, let's jump Yes, we can modify it. Of course, they are all related for whatever activities that we have. Personality type. There are some people who has this kind of personality. They always worry, or worries. They have worries a lot or increased worries. Okay, so they have those manifestations. They have the DNA. But even they are just calmly washing the dishes, something will pop up on their brain. Do this. After doing while cooking some, can I need to run it? They are always worrying with something. Okay, and of course, contraceptive pills. It's modifiable. Okay, the contraceptive pills can cause hypertension and bleeding. It can cause hypertension and bleeding. That's why if they have hypertension and bleeding, ask them what type of contraceptive are you using. If this is contraceptive pills, there's a possibility of a stroke or CVA. Remember, they have this hypertension and bleeding. Next, inspection, palpation, percussion, as well as auscultation. This is physical exam. So, in our physical exam, remember, versus abdominal exam, physical versus abdominal exam, physical IPPA, abdominal IAPP. Keep this in mind. The third letter that we have here, both of them are percussion. All right, percussion. This is letter P for physical. This is letter A for abdominal. The second letter for physical exam is letter P. The second letter for abdominal is letter A for memorization purposes. So aside from IPA or EPA, you have your second letter P, physical or palpate, third letter percuss. Okay. Now I'm going to ask you again, although I asked this the last time, bladder. Do you what assessment are you going to use for the bladder? Are you going to use inspect, palpate, percuss, or auscultate? Can you inspect the bladder? Yes. Can you palpate the bladder? Palpate. Palpation of the bladder. Yes. Can you percuss? When you percuss, what are you trying to have? So you bladder. Do you auscultate the bladder? So you use, if you auscultate, what are you going to use? Stethoscope? Do you do that? You put the stethoscope in the, no, we don't do that. So we don't auscultate our bladder. Okay, we don't listen anything. You cannot listen any sounds in the bladder. All right. This is storage of urine. So no. All right. So those are the different assessments that we can apply. Now, in our heart, jugular vein distension, meaning to say you have congestion, respiration, peripheral edema, that's inspection. Palpation is skin temperature, peripheral pulses, peripheral edema. Okay. So skin temperature. If there is poor circulation, what is the temperature of the skin? Cold, all right, cold and clammy. And of course, we percuss. Next one, of course, is the auscultation, the one that we talk about, your lub, dub, lub, dub. In lub, dub, lub, dub, that is the normal heart sounds. L1, S1, and S2, dub, dub, lub, dub, lub, dub. That is your normal heart sound. If you have gallops, S3 and S4, gallop, also indicates that you have congestion. Gallop also indicates that you have congestion. S3 and S4, instead of lub, dub, lub, dub, you will be hearing sounds like this. Dub, blah, dub, blah, dub, blah, dub, blah, dub, blah. Instead of dub, 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 you will be hearing dub, blah, dub, blah, dub, blah. All right? There will be murmurs, there will be pericardial friction rub. And remember, if there's pericardial friction rub, your pericardium is touching the sternum. Okay? One condition is pericarditis. Laboratory tests. So tests, we have CBC, we know this already, your RBC, WBC, and platelets. A little review pertaining to your RBC. If your RBC is high, it indicates what? You're done with blood discussion, blood disorder. RBC that is high, polycythemia. RBC that is low, anemia. Okay? WBC that is high, if your WBC is high, WBC, take a deep breath, you know this. WBC that is high, infection. You know that. It's just so you're excited to answer. That's why I told you, take a deep breath. WBC that is low, take a deep breath. Anemia, neutropenia, leukopenia, all right? You are prone to infection. And of course, you have your platelets. ESR. So let's talk about ESR. I don't want to talk about the normal values of ESR because I'm not, even myself, I'm not good with numbers. Okay? So ESR. If the ESR is elevated, it means that you have inflammation, muscles or bone. ESR that is elevated, meaning to say you have inflammation of muscles or bones. So if you have